Labor Day, everyone. It is the first weekend in September, Labor Day, the unofficial end of summer, and I just got off a StreamYard call with Ida and Leon to announce they are coming over for the OCR World Championships and how, in fact, they are doing it. Now, to remind you, Leon is a European champion who came over earlier this year, podiumed at Savage Race before getting injured at the Georgia Savage Race. And Ida Mathilda, who has done really well in the most recent World Championships in the 3K and the 15K, losing only to Lindsay and some of the best in the business. The complete conversation with them, which will be about an hour, will be up on the podcast later this week. But let's get to how the heck they're coming to America. Away we go. Why we're on the phone today, which is the OCR World Championships 2021. You both are coming, and from what I understand, you're going to come over. We're going to sneak you in a little igloo in northern Canada for 2 weeks. Then you're going to climb over the border. Tell people what it's going to take. I think you posted a little bit about it.
We actually have two very different trips ahead of us, I would say. I think Leon's is the easiest version, so maybe we should start with
Okay, Leon, what are you doing to get here in time?
Mine is a bit more.
Exactly what Ida's been working on very hard for the past couple of months is getting a national interest exemption, which is an extension of the ESTA, the travel visa to enter America. And a national interest exemption says that you can enter for a specific reason. It could be work, it could be political stuff, or professional athletes. And they have like 1.5 sentence about what professional athletes need to do in order to get that NIE. I applied for that in December and January in the wintertime in order to go to Colorado and try to run with VJ to do the US National Series and everything. And I luckily got it back then. So Ida and I were talking about
you broke your hoof.
I broke my hoof really bad, actually. And man, I've been
I was there, man. It was so hard. I was there, man.
It was painful. Yeah, still is. But yeah, so I got it back then, and it was only going to be valid for 1 month. So Ida and I, we sat down a couple of months ago. We looked at each other. We're like, all right, we got to apply for this together. We looked at it, and within a half an hour, we saw that the NIE was extended from a 1 month validity to a 12-month, which means mine I applied for in the winter and spent 1.5, 2 months getting is still valid. And that's amazing. So
you
super
just
lucky.
Sort of lucked out that you took the time last year and it's paying off.
It's now paying off, and it paid off with interest here, because now they took away the NIE from the American Embassy in Copenhagen and put it in Homeland Security, which had significantly slower response rates. And that's the reason we're going to be trying to. Maybe we should get Atkins' dad to fly in Ida and just parachute drop her in Stratton or something, because Ida did not get the NIE, so she can't travel directly to America.
No.
So you're going to fly into Albany.
I'm actually going to Newark Airport in New York.
Okay.
Yeah. Might just jog around Central Park, meet up with a few friends, and then drive north. And then I'm going to be picking up Ida and one or maybe two more at Albany.
Say hi to Faye Stenning.
I actually thought about hitting her up and seeing if she wanted to go for a jog. I haven't met her before, and I really wanted to. So
she's super cool.
Super cool.
So Ida, you are going to Canada.
Yeah. So so I was a bit more unfortunate, because when I then wanted to apply for the NIE, which Leon has got, and we actually had the same reasons, we had the same document, so I would be able to get the NIE, but then they just changed the border rules from when Leon got the NIE to when I had to apply for it. So now they kind of just took out if you're a professional athlete, then it's no longer possible to apply for the NIE. You have to contact the Homeland Security. So that was kind of where, for me, suddenly what we thought was true to applying for the same way as Leon, which I thought, okay, that would be possible. Well, it wasn't anymore. So I used a lot of time talking to Homeland Security and all these things. But I kind of ended up after endless time searching the internet and trying to figure out, talk to my network. I even talked to my old employer, which has, a company in US, and even they're having, a hard time getting in. They can only send their employees with old NIEs also. So I found out that the way I could get in is going to Canada. So I am flying to Montreal in 2 days. So Wednesday morning, I'm going to Montreal, and then I'm going to stay there and enjoy for 14, 15 days, and then I'm going to fly in to US from there, and then hopefully, I hope that that's good enough for the US. So everything has been a bit doubtful still. Also, Canada actually only opened their borders for tourism. They opened their borders for tourists from tomorrow. So they haven't had their borders open either. So they're opening the 7th, and I'm flying in on the 8th, right? So it's a little...
So you have to show that you've been there for 2 weeks. What proof do you have to show that you've been there?
Well, the thing is, they say that because you scan your passport, when you get kind of electronically, it's noted in their system that you kind of have entered Canada. And then I have to show all documents for like Airbnb that I'm renting. And then I still have my invitation letter but this is kind of the thing I have. Then Red Bull Canada is in Montreal, and they could write down, yes, this athlete has been here for these 2 weeks. We're thinking about just having that extra document just to be sure. But most of the people I've talked with have been like, as long as they can just see in your passport that you've been in these other countries for more than 14 days, then they're hopefully pretty like chill. They say that it's fine. So that's what I hope, but it's still a bit scary. I know maybe scary isn't the right word, but it's just, a bit too exciting that you actually go to Canada for 2 weeks and then you hope. Get in for the World Championships. But man, I'm going to be really sad if they send me home standing at the American border 2 days before the World Championships. Then it's going to be a hard plane home. But that's not going to happen. We're just going to think positive and hope everything is going to be fine. Yeah.
So we're both traveling a little bit with that feeling, because my NIE is for a Spartan US National Series, and the NIE has to be for the same thing. So I don't know if I'm gonna end up having to say I'm traveling to Tahoe to do a Spartan North American instead of OCRWC. I haven't quite figured that out yet. But there's a small risk that if you meet the wrong officer at the airport, who's having like a really shitty day, and his or her wife/husband has like been just treating them poorly for a month or something, that they're going to be like so angry. They just want to toss a European dude back home to Copenhagen. I really hope that doesn't.
I think that's what happened with High Rocks. So the guys from High Rocks, we had that event in Dallas earlier this year, and they flew to Costa Rica, I want to say.
Yeah.
And then
I heard that story.
and then when they started coming over, it was like the first couple came through, but then the next couple tried to come through, and they were like, what's going on here, and blah blah blah. And so they went back home and tried it again 2 days later, and it didn't work. And you get the right guy and it's like, have a great trip, and you get the wrong person and it's not have a great trip.
And that's kind of also the situation in general in Europe, because there are some European athletes coming, but they're the few ones that's been really lucky with this NIE. So some people has just through their embassy, just gotten really lucky and gotten the NIE because they approved it, and they maybe thought, okay, professional athlete is maybe good enough as a job function or things like that. So sometimes it's also just being a bit lucky with your application, which of course is a bit unfortunate that it's things like that has to, determine who's actually going to be.
And I just want to say to the European community that I really appreciate the positive feedback I've been getting on announcing that I'm going to the OCRWC, because there's been so many emotions involved in this, not just Europeans, any non-Americans basically. I also talked to the people in Argentina and so on. They were still like, so frustrating. But I've received a lot of support, which I was worried wouldn't be there, because it's so hard sometimes to look past your own boundaries. And if you've been told you can't go, and maybe you really you trained for like a full year to do OCRWC, you got the ticket, you booked the Airbnb and whatever, and now you can't go because of political stuff, it's really hard to be happy for someone else that lucky or prepared or whatever enough or willing enough to sacrifice time and money, because it's really expensive to do this trip right now. But it's still hard to be supportive when you yourself feel cheated to do this. So I'm just very happy that the people who can't go are still supportive, that, for example, Ida and I and some other people either get the chance or just risk it to get the biscuit and actually go there. Yeah.
Yeah.
I
haven't really told anyone besides the really small community yet. So this is kind of my me telling people, ta-da, I'm coming to the World Championship.
So I posted. I was so excited for you.
Yeah.
Can you shut the door? Thanks, buddy. I was so excited for you. I was like, oh, like Leon versus VJ. It's like creating some hype, and you're like, I'm not that fast. I'm not very good. So how are you feeling?
So I haven't done
hang on.
a single.
Another son is asking a question. Hang on. I have multiple sons.
Yes.
Yes.
While you're on it, and when you're done, I'll give that back. I just wanted to catch some Pokemon.
Sure. He wants to catch some Pokemon.
I get that.
I love that. Very important. Catch Pokemons.
Gotta catch
I
them
actually
all.
did a really important test, not of fitness, because it doesn't matter to measure my fitness right now. That would be a really not great feeling kind of test. But I did a little uphill intensity session yesterday to feel how I would react to running up a mountain. And that turned out really, really well. I also jogged the toughest course with that day's third place finisher from Finland/Sweden. He jogged the course with me after his race.
What is his name?
It's Pontus Sjöblom. You haven't heard of him.
Perfect. Pontus Sjöblom. Jack Bauer thinks I can't pronounce European names correctly, and I absolutely can. So
I think you're doing. I mean, the Finnish people are quite difficult. Like they're very difficult for everyone. Yeah. No, but I jogged the course. That was a big test for me.
I messaged what's her name? Who finished second behind you?
Like Ida behind you, Ida?
Sorry, Ida. Yeah.
Rebecca, right?
Yeah, Danish girl. Yeah.
What's her name?
Henriette.
What's her last name?
Bardum, I think.
Okay, then who's the other one?
Estelle Martin.
And right. And what's her boyfriend's name?
Dan Caroline.
They have like a team.
Oh yeah, that's called Trækløveren, which it means the three clover.
Yeah.
No, who's the girl that's like their team is like Backstrom and Forstrom? It's like the most Swedish thing I've ever heard.
Oh shit! Those were the guys at Toughest.
Yeah,
you're in Sweden now. You're in Sweden now. Yeah.
I'm so confused.
The Danish event.
Yeah. Sorry. So yes,
they happened like half an hour away from each other, so it's totally fair to be confused.
She's like, oh, I'm Backstrom and he's Forstrom. It's like, oh, you have the most like predictable sounding names like in the world. Like you couldn't.
Yeah, so they're like Team Stream because
Team Stream.
Tom means team. They're running quite well.
The Swedish girls are getting fast. Yeah, I'm looking forward. I'm doing a toughest later this year. I'm looking forward to challenge the Swedes.
So I've wanted to go there since like ever since like my early days of OCR. Like the two things, like everyone's like, you got to do tough guy and you got to do toughest. So eventually I'll make my way over there. But let's go back to your fitness.
So that's still non-existent.
What would be? Are you doing all of them? 3K, 15K team.
I am running the 3K. I have a ticket for the 100 meter, which I will have to assess on the day. Because I don't know if that's going to be constructed in a manner which is going to have like massive high impact, because then I simply can't do it. And I am also running the team with Ida, unless I hurt myself or I feel that the 3K was too demanding.
Right.
The thing is, I'm not going to enter that with the intent of running like a risky or full-on effort. I mean, I will run as hard as I feel comfortable doing, which is the reason I'm going to be spending 6-7 days at Stratton Mountain leading up to the race, because I need to try to run up and down those hills and run that exact altitude curve, like coming up, 500, 600 feet of vertical gain and then down and then flat. So it's basically split in 1K up, 1K down, 1K flat, You got your 3K race right there. I need to test that like during that week to know how much I can run. But my key parameter is not breaking anything or hurting myself more, because it won't be worth it, because I'm bringing in the sloppiest fitness of that start line. So it's not like risking it. It's not like I'm bringing in a massive engine with like a flat wheel or something. I'm bringing in a really rusty, shitty engine that hasn't been nourished with actual running. I can assault bike all week long, but I be running. We still got a lot to do right there.
Quick side note. So I've been to this mountain. So I did this event called Everesting, where you go up and down the mountain. Well, you go up the mountain, you take the tram down, and you do it, I think 17 times.
Was that on that mountain? I remember seeing you doing that.
Yeah. And so I'm excited to go back. I know the little, I know they got a great little, the little town, the little festival. It's, just like Blue Mountain or any of these other great mountain towns. But anyway, so super cool. I'm looking forward to going there. So if you don't run the 15K, okay, would you like to be a rabbit, as long as I don't put you on the fastest people for the OCRWC broadcast? I need fast people.
The thing is, I don't know how I'm gonna feel the next day, and if I feel even like a little bit, I would rather have that extra days super rest to do and win the team relay the next day, because we're probably still putting me on obstacles, and my legs are not great, but these arms are insane at the moment. I feel.
You want to go do some pull-ups right there, right behind you right now?
Yeah.
Some one-arm pull-ups.
Yeah. Just do it all the time. Yeah.
Can you do one-arm?
I love having this one here. I don't know. Probably.
Let's go see.
Come on, let's see. Right. If you can't do one, then you're not on my team, Leon.
Okay, he grabbed with his right hand.
That's the effort.
There we go. There we are.
There we are. Okay.
Did Atkins see that? Did Atkins see that?
You can be on the team now, Leon. It's okay.
Good. What is your okay, Ida? And you've been to OCRWC how many times?
4 times.
And tell me what your finishes have been over the years.
So I only raced age group in 15 and 16, and then I raced pro elite. I think they call it the pro wave in 18 and 19. And in 18, I came in second on the 15K. And in 19, I came in second on the 3K and third on the 15K.
So you've been beaten by
Nicole and Lindsay.
And Karen?
And Karen, yeah.
Karen Carlson. And there you have it. Thank you so much for watching. I always appreciate you watching this content. Do me a favor, like and subscribe so you always know when these things come out. And I love you, and I miss you, and I mean it, and I will talk to you soon. Gotta run.